but she'd wanted to touch something that once belonged to her aunt. With the book in hand, she was turning to replace it when she heard voices. Male voices. River quickly returned the book to the case. She yanked off the gloves and hid in the shadows. "I told you," said a man in a thick Irish accent. He was smiling as he held out his arms and turned in a circle. His hair was long and black, and his silver eyes darted from one book to the next. She recognized him immediately. He'd come into the library the day before, asking for one of the ancient books. River should have known the Fae would return. It was the man behind him that made her stomach fall to her feet, though. His shoulder-length black hair was laced with silver. Eyes the color of blood surveyed the room slowly, as if he knew she was there. "See if they have the ones we need," he stated. River didn't wonder how they got into the library and her vault, because she knew what they were. Fae. But how peculiar for a light and a dark to be working together. They were usually at odds with one another. Ever since the dark openly descended upon Edinburgh in October, River made sure to have her blade with her at all times. She bent and pulled the long, curved knife from the hidden scabbard attached to her leg beneath her skirt. The dark walked to the book she'd just been reading. "Some of the titles are gone." "I know. The ones I can read are on the list." "I think they're all on the list. We'll take all of them. What we don't need, you'll return." The light cut him a flat look. "Are you trying to vex me?" "Is it working? I'm not returning for another go at this," the dark said with a harsh look. River heard enough. She stepped into the light. "You'll not be taking anything." The light Fae looked at her with confusion, while the dark's red gaze honed in on her. She glowered at each of them. Neither said a word as they continued to stare at her. "I didn't stutter," River said. "Turn around and leave now." It was the dark who said, "We can, but we'll be back. And I'll be waiting for you." The light frowned at her after he glanced at the dark Fae. "You're supposed to be at home." "Doesn't look like I am." The light held up his hands. "We need these books. It's important. And it's important to me that they remain right where they are," she told him. When the light Fae went to use his magic on the code to open the glass box, she swung her arm up, the blade in hand. The dark was suddenly there, his hand on her wrist. River twisted out of his grip and pointed the knife at his neck. "These are my books." "I thought they belonged to the library," the dark said calmly, as if they hadn't briefly clashed. River wasn't going to split hairs. Let the library think the books belonged to them, but in fact, each and every one of them were hers. "Leave," she ordered. The dark moved closer, the point of her weapon nicking his skin so that a bead of blood formed. "Do you know what you are?" "I have a Fae blade in my hand. Of course I know what I am." "Where did you get the dagger?" the light asked. River didn't budge, even as more blood welled from the prick on the dark's neck. "Wouldn't you like to know?" "Talon," the dark cautioned when the light began to move toward her. "Yes, Talon," River said. "I think you'd better stay right where you are." Talon dropped his arms and heaved a sigh. "Kieran, do something." River's gaze was locked with Kieran. She'd seen many Fae over the years, but there was something fascinating and absorbing about this dark that made her heart race, from something other than fear. If only she could lay her finger on what it was. She knew what the dark Fae did to humans, how they had sex with them, giving the humans ultimate pleasure. And all the while the dark drained them of their souls. It was a horrendous way to die. But Kieran seemed different. She didn't get a vibe of evil from him despite his hair and eyes. All dark had red eyes and silver in their black hair. Despite what he was, she couldn't deny his attraction. Perhaps it was the way he held her gaze, looking at her as if he couldn't get enough. Her stomach quivered, and she moved a half-step closer, even as her mind warned her to keep her distance. But she couldn't. She had to get nearer.
to keep listening to this audiobook. I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.